extremely positive signs for Manchester United. First win for Ruben Amorim. His first win as Manchester United manager. And right after this game, he's been talking. So our manager, Ruben Amorim, he's talking, he's active, he's there. And it looks like he genuinely believes in Mason Mount, right? Mason Mount, overall, we haven't seen the best of Mason Mount. But right now, the manager, he's coming out really backing Mason Mount, really backing the player we bought, right? We bought Mason Mount for a lot of money. And Ruben Amorim, he sees something in Mason Mount. He sees something in Money Mace because this is a player that we bought for a lot of money. We invested a lot into Mason Mount. And overall, the manager, he seems to like Mason Mount and Mazraoui, Mason Mount, the way he's talking about both of these players is incredible. Mason Mount, Mazraoui, these are these are the managers, one of Ruben Amorim's favorites, right? Mason, Mazraoui, and we're just having more quotes week in, week out with Mason Mount, right? Mount did a great job. There was a moment and detail where you can see that Mount is a proper player. So the manager already calling Mason Mount a proper player, a proper individual. You can see that, okay, step by step, the manager will step by step, the manager, he's already loving this guy. He's already loving Mason Mount. He's already loving Mount as a player, as an individual. But overall, you can you just have to give him time. Overall, as fans, we want to see the results now. As fans, we want to see the outcome now. But the way the manager is talking, he sees a vision. He has a vision. He already knows what he wants from the players, right? The way he's talking, actually talking, and you can actually tell if a manager is gonna succeed or not because just based on his first two games, he's already given me a lot of confidence because the changes he makes, the players he's actually trusting. He's not favoring anybody, but he has a foundation. Ruben Amorim, he has a foundation. A foundation is actually following, and it looks like Mason Mount and Mazraoui would be a massive part of this foundation, but because a lot of the interviews he has are centered around Mason Mount, are centered around Mazraoui. They are centered around these two players, right? Just the way he talks about both of these players, right? He's saying Mason Mount is a proper player. So he sees something in Mason Mount. He has a vision for Mason Mount. Overall, the manager, we'll see in a few days, in a few weeks, what we can expect from Mason Mount. Because of obviously the manager, he wants to play Mason Mount in that number 10 position. But right now, I'm seeing him drifting a bit to that fullback position, right? Where Amad Diallo is playing. The manager did say it's possible for Mason Mount to play there. Mazraoui though, this guy will be key because every time he plays, he doesn't have a bad game. I think since he joined Manchester United, Mazraoui, I've only seen maybe one poor performance from him. One poor, and that was Liverpool. So Mazraoui, yeah, he technically this guy is different, Mazraoui, and also his IQ off the ball, the way he analyzes everything. I think Mazraoui going forward, he's gonna be the most important player. Him and Delit are gonna be one of the most important players for Manchester United. I think you gotta give credit to the board for finding a player like Mazraoui, for actually bringing a player like Mazraoui, bringing a player like Delit, because these two, I know where conceding goes. I know we haven't had a great season. But if you just look at the individual performances from Mazraoui and Delit, it's unbelievable, man. You just see that these guys are levels, right? Mazraoui, he's on a different level to other fullbacks in the league, to other right backs in the league. I think Mazraoui, he can even play in the midfield. That's how technically secured this guy is. But overall, you're seeing that as Manchester United, we're building something. And it's, I also want to go to another quote from the manager about Mason Mount. We believe a lot in Mason Mount. So he believes in this guy. He believes in Mason, Money Mace. Money Mace, you can see that, okay, yes, a lot of people may not rate Mason Mount, but overall, it's not really about, okay, do you rate this guy? Do you not rate Mason Mount? It's mainly about, hey, the manager, he sees something in Mason Mount. He sees something in Mazraoui, but I see what he sees in Mazraoui, right? This guy, technically, he's on another level. Like, just watching Mazraoui for me, wow, wow. I'm really impressed with this guy. Mason Mount, he still has levels to go up, right? I still need to see a lot more from him before I say, okay, Mason Mount should be the future. Because if Mason Mount doesn't work out, you're Manchester United, you need to actually go into the transfer window and find somebody that will work out. But overall, the vision, I can see the vision. I can genuinely see what Ruben Amorim is trying to do. I can genuinely feel the vision from the board, not only the board, but the manager as well, right? Omar Barada, since this man came, Mazraoui, he's insane, bro. He is insane. What a bargain. And he wasn't expensive as a midfielder. Mazraoui, what a bargain. He's insane as a player, as just his IQ. He's technically blessed as a footballer. And I just want to pay respect to the people that got this deal over the line, right? The people that saw, okay, Mazraoui, he's going to take us to another level. Delit, he's going to take us to another level. And that's down to Omar Barada and overall the board, Dan Ashworth. These guys are doing things behind the scenes. These guys are doing things that are taking us to the next level. And there are also reports that, okay, now they're looking into the Brazilian market, right? And I think that can be massive. If you bring in young Brazilian, I know we're bringing in young players, right? Kone, all these other young players into the academy. But if you tap into that Brazilian market, the Brazilian market will take you to another level. That Brazilian, wow. Because Dan Ashworth, this man has a plan. Omar Barada, this man has a plan. You can just see step by step how we're moving. You can just see step by step. He never loses the ball. That's what I'm mostly impressed about. And in tight spaces, Mazraoui is insane. In tight spaces, these guys are insane. But what I'm asking from the board, can you find players like Mazraoui in every position? Every position you have a world-class player. Every position you have a world-class individual. And that's the question I'm asking. But I truly believe in a few I think January transfer window will be focused more on, okay, let's buy some academy players, but also strengthen the team. If you strengthen the team, buying academy, strengthening the team, buying this and that, you can actually go to another level. You can actually go places, man. And with this report about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, so Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Mount can actually flourish in that system. That's what I'm thinking as well, bro. Because Mason Mount, if you actually think about how he's developing as a player, yes, he's had injuries. Yes, it hasn't worked out so far. But Mount, he will thrive under a system. If you give this man a system, I think it can benefit everybody, right? This system, Ruben Amorim, he's trying to build, I think Mount will be valuable. Mazraoui will be valuable. And you can see that, okay, he's still looking for a striker. Rasmus Højlund, I believe in Rasmus in to actually level up, to actually improve himself. But if you can have at least two, you can never have too many good players, right? Look at Manchester City in their prime. When they won that treble, they had two good players in every position. We need to move from Casemiro. You're right, bro. That's why these reports that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is actually tapping into the Saudi market. He's actually making contacts in Saudi. He's actually talking to businessmen in Saudi about offloading players like this. Offloading a player like Casemiro, offloading a player like Marcus Rashford, it's extremely hard because of their wages, right? Premier League teams ain't touching that wage. Premier League teams ain't touching that wage from Marcus Rashford. So that's why what Sir Jim is doing, it's brilliant. It's similar to what Chelsea are doing, right? Chelsea, how many players have they sold to Saudi? Right? They buy a player, he flops, they send him to Saudi. That's what we need to start doing, right? Because our wage salary is too much. It is too much. You can see Barcelona right now, they're failing to get rid of someone like Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong is on 700K. Nobody's going to touch him. Man United, we wanted to touch him, but he didn't want to come because he's going to have to lower his wages. At Barcelona, that man is trapped, right? Barcelona are trapped with the Frankie de Jong situation. We don't want to be like that. And so what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is actually doing is brilliant because you're tapping into that Saudi market. You're tapping into a massive market. A market like Saudi, it can take you levels. It can take you places because Saudi overall, these guys have money. They have different type of money. If you can actually connect with these businessmen, connect with these money men, because Saudi, we know how they're moving. We know how they're moving. They don't care if a player's wages are 700K. They're going to take it to level up their league. I think sporting, uh, we can build our own players without sporting players. I think we should move away from the idea of, oh no, we need to bring in sporting players to evolve as a club. I trust the board to find other players that can level us up, right? Because sporting, yes, they were performing under Ruben Amorim, but the most important person at sporting was the manager, was Ruben Amorim. So we don't need a lot of sporting players. We can actually tap into other markets, tap into Spain. Spain, you have more technical players, you have more technical strikers, you have more technical defenders, more technical midfielders. So if you tap into Spain, tap into Brazil, you don't really need players from Sporting, right? Because you have the whole world to actually search and scout, right? I want the board to scout players like the players at Sporting, but on a different level, right? I think the Spanish market, you need to tap into that because Spain, they have technically gifted players, and that's what you need in your midfield. If you're going to sell Casemiro to Saudi, sell all these players to Saudi, you got to bring in technical players to level us up. That's what we're lacking in the midfield, really. Technical ability. Yes, we have players that can do a job. They can do a job in a system. But technical players, you can see how these Spanish players are playing in the World Cup, in the Euros. Spain have, for me, the best market in the world. After Brazil, they're a bit finished now, right? The Brazilian market is a bit finished. But Spain, technically, these guys from a young age, they teach them about ball retention, technical ability. It's all about technicality in Spain. So I think Man United, that's a market you need to tap into. And so Jim Ratcliffe, he's already started the first step. The first step you need to do is, okay, we need to sell players that are on high wages, players that are not contributing, players that that we don't genuinely need. But you also need to replace them with unbelievable world-class players. And the system from Ruben Amorim, we know it consists of three defenders, right? But overall, they don't necessarily need to be defenders. We saw that in the second half yesterday. Luke Shaw, Mazraoui, these guys are not necessarily defenders, but they can play in that back three. So I I see us going back into the market summer window to buy backup defenders, backup right back, backup left back, because his system requires like three defenders. It's a back three. So you need players technically gifted to play in this Ruben Amorim system. Mazraoui, I think this guy, he's not going anywhere because we've seen how the manager actually loves this guy. And we've seen his performances in both the manager's games. He was insane. Technically, if you just see him, he plays at his own pace. He's passing at his own pace. Mazraoui, he's different. He's actually different. But overall, you need a player in each position. Zersky is not actually playing because I think the manager, he's trying to see his best team, right? He's still experimenting. I expect Joshua to play some games, but not a lot, right? At Man United, you have so much competition. You can't expect players to have a certified position, right? If you start underperforming, I expect the manager to replace you. That's why having a good squad is important, because you're not only relying, oh no, this player has a bad form. Oh no, this player isn't playing well. What are we gonna do? No, you're actually evolving as a club. You have players in each position. If this player is injured, you have another guy. If this player isn't performing, you have another guy. That's why you need to build at least three good players in each position. Defense, I think our defense is probably the strongest position for us because you have options as well. Strikers, yeah, I like the strikers we're being linked to, but overall we have to wait and see. The media, sometimes these guys lie just to sell papers, because if you see like the summer transfer window, they had no idea that Mazraoui was coming to Manchester United. We just heard a "here we go" from Fabrizio. They had no idea that some of these players, Lenny Yoro, the media was saying, no, Lenny Yoro is going to Real Madrid. And then in the final minutes, they changed their whole tune, So the media, sometimes they don't know what's going on. Especially under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he's cutting out all leaks. All the leaks are gone. So right now we're only speculating. It's only speculation, right? Oh, this striker will come, that striker. It's only speculation, but I like that we're being linked to high quality players, right? Technically gifted players. I think players that are coming out of their best, like players like Casemiro. I like Ericsson, but you have to move him on. Just players that are not contributing a lot, right? Players on high wages and they don't have a future, because we heard what Sir Jim Ratcliffe said. He only wants to be signing players under 25, low wages, and with hunger. We saw the detailed plan. When he actually came in, when Omar Barada came in, they put out a statement. These are the types of players we're going to be actually going for. They have to be under 25. The wages has to be reasonable, right? Because we're signing players with ridiculous wages. Under Ed Woodward, we were signing players with ridiculous wages. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, when we signed him, his wages were insane. So now it's all about, okay, we're signing players for the future. We're signing players with ability, right? And most of the players we've signed in the past 10 years, how many of them can you say, ooh, this guy's world class? Ooh, this guy has a future. Usually, when you sign a world class, he's past his best. We signed Alexis Sanchez, but he was past his best. We need to actually maintain a level, sign players like Lamine Yamal. If we signed someone like that, we won't sign him because of the wages he's going to demand. But I'm just giving an example. If you signed a young player like that with technical ability, that's the direction we need to start going, right? These star players, these Mbappe type of players, you don't need them, right? Because you have a system that can carry you through and win you leagues. It's all about a system now. It's all about what the manager actually wants, what the manager wants to actually implement. And we're seeing a growth in Manchester United. We're seeing a level of, we're evolving as a team, evolving as a club, because you can see step by step. Mazraoui, that guy is leveling up. I'm just so excited for the next transfer window. Okay, what midfielders are we gonna bring? Because defensively, our signings were spot on. I think the board are moving position by position. Yes, we signed Zerski, he's a striker, but I think the next transfer window they're gonna focus more on midfielders. Yeah, Rashford needs to want it more. I agree with the views given by Ruben Amorim. Rashford, you need to want it more than the manager. This is your career. This is your life, right? If you don't want it, nobody's gonna actually want it for you. So Rashford, I think he's already lost the motivation to level up. He already has the money. He already has all the fame. There's no incentive for Rashford to perform because he's already living the life he wants to live. So there's no incentive for him to level up. There's no incentive. So with Rashford, I don't expect him to put in the effort that people want him to put in, because he's already reached the level he wanted to reach. So I won't even be shocked if he does what Ivan Toney did and go to Saudi, relax, get more money. That's the only thing he's motivated by, money, right? Man United, they won't increase his salary. Rashford, Manchester United won't increase his. He's only motivated by money right now. And hey, I understand that. Okay, if that's what you're motivated by, money, okay, cool. But don't bring that mindset to Manchester United, right? You don't want other players, because a lot of players look up to Rashford. The academy players, they look up to Marcus Rashford. So having a player like Rashford, it's a virus though. It's actually a virus, because you have a senior player like Rashford who's supposed to set the example. You set the example. Okay, this is how you actually operate as a professional footballer. But he's setting a bad example for like academy players, because they'll watch, oh, if Rashford can do this, so can I. Oh, if Rashford isn't tracking back, so can I. So he has massive influence, Marcus Rashford, on academy players. So his influence needs to be cut out. I think it's time for us to move on from Marcus Rashford. I love Marcus, right? He's from the academy. He's done what he's done. He's actually overachieved, because let's just think about it. Nobody expected Marcus Rashford to break through from the academy. When he was in the academy, nobody looked at Marcus Rashford and said, wow, he's brilliant. Wow, he's going to be like Beckham. People were seeing Marcus Rashford as an average player in the academy. So for him to actually reach this level, a level where you've won the Europa League with Man United, you've won the FA Cup, the only thing you haven't won is the Premier League and Champions League. It's an okay career for a player that not a lot of people rated in the academy. So I think with Rashford, you can leave on a high saying, hey, I played for my childhood club, the club I was dreaming about every night. I played for that. I played for Manchester United. It's actually a great achievement from Rashford. But now it's time for you to accept that, hey, I might be coming to the end of this chapter. I might be coming to the end. It's better for you to take that Saudi money now, right? If you take that Saudi money, Marcus Rashford, you won't regret anything. Don't be like Kylian Mbappe thinking, oh, I'm too good for Saudi, this and that. Now Kylian Mbappe, 1 billion. They were offering him 1 billion to go to Saudi. That money, he'll never see that again, right? So Marcus Rashford, this Saudi money, you gotta take it. You gotta take it, because if you reach 30 and then what next? Saudi won't want you anymore, because their league it's developing massively, right? They're getting players from Brazil, they're getting players from South America. So it's developing massively. I In the next 5 years, Saudi, they'll only be buying young talents, not players over 30, this and that. That's what I actually feel, because the money they have, it's gonna dominate football. It's inevitable for them to actually take over, right? Because that's how the Premier League actually took over, with money. So Saudi, they're gonna become the new Premier League, but it's gonna take time, of course. But overall, Marcus Rashford, take that money while you still have it, because at Man United, they're not gonna offer you something like, oh, 700K per week. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. So this Saudi money that people are offering you, you gotta take it with both hands, right? Saudi are offering you a chance out. Sometimes you need to know when to close the chapter, when things are over. I love Marcus, but I think that's one of the players that needs to be moved on, just to bring some new, fresh, some young, talented players, right? If you get some young talent, because I think people, we overrate our academy, right? If you compare our academy to Manchester City and Chelsea, in the last 5 years, our academy has only won like one trophy or something. Man City, they've been winning trophies, producing players like Cole Palmer, this and that. So our academy is lacking. We shouldn't be saying, oh, yes, some academy players deserve time, but we need to actually look past average players like Marcus Rashford. I think Bruno as well. We have to actually start looking for a Bruno replacement, a young, talented player that can be there for the next 10 years, but also he has talent. He has the capabilities of carrying a team. Someone like Pedri, if you find a player like Pedri for Manchester United, that's what you're looking for. Young players that can be there for the next 10 years, because Bruno, he's also coming to the end of his chapter. But I genuinely believe Ruben Amorim, he already has a blueprint of the players he wants. He already has a blueprint of the guys he actually wants. Okay, I want this guy, I want that guy. Florian Wirtz, bro, you're right. You're right. That guy he's probably a great replacement for Bruno. You're completely right. Someone like Florian Wirtz, he can come in and set standards, because he's got youth on his side. He's young, he's hungry, everything. He ticks all the boxes, right? He also has talent, Florian Wirtz. So somebody like that, if you bring them in, you can actually look past Bruno Fernandes. You can actually look past the players that aren't contributing too much. So I genuinely believe the board have a plan, right? Not a lot of people saw us having the transfer window that we've had, right? Signing so many good young defenders, Lenny Yoro, Delit, Mazraoui. These guys are going to be there for 5-6 years, and they're going to be comfortable. They're going to be world class. And I truly believe we're moving in the right direction as a club, as Manchester United. But also, you just need to focus. Yes, focusing on the long term is good, but also focus on, okay, Omar Barada said, okay, we have a 3-year plan of winning the Premier League. So I want to see how that's going to be achieved, right? Are you going to buy experienced players with young and up and coming players? That will be interesting, because we've seen what Chelsea have done, right? They're just buying young players. But we've heard so many managers say that, okay, young players, you can't win a lot with inexperienced young players. You need some experience in the team. You need some experience of know-how, right? Yes, there are young players that just come in and dominate a team, like Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney, that guy was insane. But other young players, they will struggle, because they need a mentor. They need other people to actually develop them, to learn from, to actually help them grow as players. And that's what you need to actually look at as Manchester United. Overall, I I love the direction we're going in. Omar Barada has a plan. So Jim Ratcliffe has a plan. The whole board have a plan. You saw how fast they replaced Eric Ten Hag. So I genuinely believe they will replace any player with that amount, with that type of speed, right? You saw how fast they replaced Eric Ten Hag. The next day, you already know who the manager is. So I believe they're going to do that with Bruno Fernandes, with Marcus Rashford. The next day, you already know who their replacement is. I truly believe that's how we're moving right now. With the Glazers, it was all disorganized, right? It was all disorganized. But you can see how Sir Jim Ratcliffe is moving. The next day, you already know who the manager is. And that's how they're moving in the transfer window as well. Bruno Fernandes, he's going to be replaced. Rashford, he's going to be replaced instantly. I truly believe that. The way they replaced Eric Ten Hag instantly, they can do that with any player. Find an instant replacement. Find an instant quality replacement. Nobody actually thought we would replace Eric Ten Hag so fast, right? They thought, oh, Ruud van Nistelrooy would be the interim until December or something like that, but he was replaced immediately. And I think that type of speed, that's the speed we're going to be moving with in the transfer window. Because also Lenny Yoro, how people need to remember how fast we stole Lenny Yoro from Real Madrid. It was instant. We replaced Eric Ten Hag instantly. So these guys are moving with speed. So Jim Ratcliffe is moving with speed. He's not playing around. And that's what you get from a man with connection. You can't do that without connections. So Jim Ratcliffe, he's got connections. Just like that, instantly. It's incredible, man. And Omar Barada, he's flying to these guys. He flew to meet Lenny Yoro to actually finalize a deal. He flew to Ruben Amorim. You can see how they're moving. They're moving with speed. Transfer window, January transfer window right now. Most of the media, they don't know. Because these guys are moving with so much speed. I'm telling you this right now. January, we're going to make a shocking signing and the media will act like they knew. That's what happened with Lenny Yoro. That's what happened with Ruben Amorim. We're moving with speed. We're moving with precision. And I just love to see it. The board, if you can actually keep this momentum, we can do something. We can actually do, and that's just their first summer window. So Jim hasn't been here for more than a year, and he's already wiping out the competition. He's already wiping out Rome to bully Real Madrid for a player. How many teams can actually do that? To bully Real Madrid after Real Madrid won the Champions League. To bully them for a player and steal their player. That's not easy. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe, behind the scenes, this man has power. He has real power. You've seen him with presidents. This man has real power even outside football. So people have to actually realize how much power Sir Jim Ratcliffe has. Outside football, you can see the people he's meeting, right? I've seen him with the president of China. So this man has real power, real connections. So Jim Ratcliffe, he's not joking around. So he's not like these other owners who only know people in football. This man knows people in politics, in business. So Jim Ratcliffe is scary for me. People have to realize how much power Sir Jim really has, because they think it's a joke. It's not to be the richest British man in the world. You have an insane connections, insane power, and the way Sir Jim Ratcliffe is moving is incredible, man. And may it continue. I just want to thank everybody that joined the show, and let's hope we win against Everton, man. Let's hope we win.